Detroit Den 313. We are back. Steve and Will talking Detroit Lions football. Before we get started, I want to put out a reminder that it is draft week. It's draft week. I'm pumped. I can't. It's hard to contain myself. Just fast forward and get the draft here. But before we get going, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget the bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. Steve, tell them what we're talking.
3 days from now, after Wednesday, we work. Well, I work. I don't know. I think you have the day off. I plan on doing my shift. I plan on coming home, grabbing my bags. I plan on going up to Detroit, checking into our Airbnb Wednesday night. Maybe I hit Greektown Casino, Motor City Casino, and I start my vacation right then and there. Thursday draft, it's time.
Yeah.
So today we're going to get into no more trade talk, for this episode. We've talked about trading back. We've talked about trading up. Today we're sticking in at 2029.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some guys that we really like in that position. It's not necessarily a mock. We're going to try to keep it realistic. Obviously, you're not going to hear the name Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr. come out of our mouths
when
we're picking at 29.
I got on my list.
So, realistically, who's a guy you're looking at pick 29?
So I'm gonna go from the bottom up on my list. I'm gonna go from the bottom up. So the first guy that I would say from the bottom up that I'm looking on my list, and this is not somebody that I'm necessarily completely in love with, but I think it could be a fit, is Darius Robinson. Darius Robinson is somebody that when we watched him on film, he's not that high twitch, fast twitch guy that we talked about, but he offers versatility. He offers size. He offers an ability to be able to get bigger or smaller. He's played this game at 305 pounds and played down inside. He's also played it at 285, standing on 2 feet. So I think that he is definitely a guy that is growing on me. I've been saying that as we go through this thing. He's been growing on me, Michigan kid. We went back and forth about it, but he's a Michigan guy, and I think that seeing him walk across that stage on draft day, shaking the commissioner's hand, staying home, in his hometown, it could be a cool thing, man. So he's definitely somebody that's on my radar. Again, not at the top of my list. Steve, how you feel about Darius?
I'm still 50-50. I'm still just not in love. I'll be okay because regardless of what happens, I have the ultimate amount of faith in Brad Holmes.
Yeah.
He is the best GM we've ever had. And I'm just a guy sitting in my office talking some football. Realistically, it's not my job to make those decisions. It's Brad's. He's done a phenomenal job. Now, I'll give you my personal opinion, not a professional one. Obviously, I'm, just a YouTuber here. Not a fan of Darius Robinson. Personally, just not a fan. Ooh. I mean, if he's the pick, I guess I just got to be okay with it. I gotta learn to accept it, learn to love it. I'm not sprinting to the store and buying his jerseys, but I'll tell you this: when late August, early September comes around, you'll think that I was the biggest Darius Robinson fan in the world because he plays for my Detroit Lions. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters to me. Yeah, I just don't get wowed when I watch his tape. I don't get blown away by his workout that he did at the combine. You put the 2 and 2 together, you get 4. I don't see eliteness. Will he be an upgrade over Kaminsky and Pascal? I think so, but I just think there's better options at 29 to get some pressure on the quarterback. Nothing against Darius Robinson. Like I said, when the football season comes around, buddy, I'll be the biggest Darius Robinson fan there is for the Detroit Lions because at the end of the day, I'm a team guy. So if that's what Brad thinks is going to make this team better, then I'll be okay with it in that aspect. But my personal opinion just doesn't wow me.
Steve, I can't tell you that I believe that there's better options out there at pick 29 with who could be left on the draft board. That might be the creme de la creme, as they say, for what we got left on that board. And I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. Dan Campbell did an interview, and he talked about a guy that could anchor the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson and send QBs back to Aiden. When he said that, that kind of did something to me where I had to start reevaluating my thought process on an defensive end or an edge guy, and just his versatility and what he did at the Senior Bowl. Again, am I here to tell you that he is the most physically gifted guy, that he's twitchy, that he's going to be wearing a gold jacket, all of those things? I'm not. But what I can say is I do believe that there's a role that he could fit into for the Detroit Lions. That aspect of it excites me. Is he the top prospect that I'm excited to watch? Absolutely not. Is he one of those guys to where when I watch the film, I go, "Oh, that's cool. That's oh my gosh, wow." Absolutely not. Now, I will say at the Senior Bowl, he did some stuff that kind of wowed me. He was pretty much unblockable at the Senior Bowl, but uh, I would be excited and interested to see what he turns into at the NFL level. But moving forward, who's one of your guys that's on your list of guys that you want?
Number 3 on my list, Cooper DeJean.
Okay.
And listen, at the beginning of this whole process, when we first started getting into prospects, I thought Cooper DeJean was kind of out of reach. A lot of people were saying he was top 15, top 20, somewhere in that area. I think even a lot of mock drafts had him top 10 right off the rip.
Wait a second. When we first started these talks, they said that he was the number 1 corner in this draft, and people were killing me because I said he might not even go in the first round, and he might not even be a corner. So I think you're selling it short. Not top 10.
No.
They said he was the number 1 corner coming out.
Well, top 10 probably would have been number 1 corner with the number of quarterbacks and wide receivers we're going to be seeing go. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't know that he personally is, but I think even when we first started this, we started really diving into these prospects. I wasn't very high on Cooper DeJean. The more I watched, and I won't say that you didn't have a little sway in this and changing my mind a little bit too, and just looking and taking a step back and looking at what Brad Holmes has done the last few drafts is he drafts guys that don't have a one true position. He drafts guys who could play multiple positions, whether it's Jahmyr Gibbs. He's not just a running back, he's a receiver. Brian Branch, not just a safety, a nickel corner, outside corner if we need him to. Drafts a lot of people that play positionless football. That's a term we use a lot. Cooper DeJean on defense is probably, in that aspect, I don't think there's anyone in this draft who's positionless more than Cooper DeJean. He could play safety. He could play outside corner. He could play inside corner. He could play a little bit of offense. He did it at Iowa. I don't see him doing that in the NFL, but I think he could be on some special teams. Like, he is probably the most versatile player in this draft. Very, very athletic. And, got to get us a white cornerback somewhere in the NFL. I got to have someone to cheer for here, regardless of where he goes, as long as it's not a division team. But I think Cooper DeJean's versatility makes him a perfect fit for the Lions. We kind of did an episode the other day talking about Kirby Joseph, his hip injury. We're not worried about it. We'll tag that video at the end, not panicking, but just as just in case, Cooper DeJean. Also, if you get an injury, Carlton Davis, and Meek Robertson, Brian Branch, Cooper DeJean just steps right in, fills whatever role he needs to, just ultimate versatility.
Yeah, I like Cooper, man. I just don't know that he has a fit on the Detroit Lions. And I do agree with your assessment, though. I think that he is a guy that definitely offers positionless football. He's a guy that I see ultimately potentially going to safety when he enters this football league at some point, or playing a little bit of nickel. I think that he is a guy that can step in and contribute. I just don't know that he overtakes Kirby Joseph, Ife Melifonwu. And I would probably rather go a different direction in this draft and just re-sign Tracy Walker for depth, but do I like Cooper DeJean? I love him, man. I was looking at those basketball highlights. The dude's just a freak athlete, period. I love his game. And if I had an opportunity to be able to get him and do something else that I wanted to do, maybe I would do it. But we can't have our cake and eat it too. So that's where it stops for me.
I'll tell you right now, you don't want to see me versus Cooper DeJean on a basketball field. We're Court William. You just don't want to see that.
I think that the fact that you didn't even know that they play on a court and not a field
don't matter. We can play in a garage, a parking lot. Don't matter. They don't call me Post Up Perkins for no reason. Okay.
Listen, I'll tell you this. I don't think that you can beat Cooper DeJean at NBA 2K.
Yeah, you're probably right. All of my white pigmentation comes out on a basketball court. Let's just leave it at that.
Hey, you told me you could shoot it.
Back in the day. That was a long time ago.
You guys heard it. Anybody who wants to play Stephen Horst could give us a shout on the X page.
Give me a week to warm up and get the shot back. That's all I'm asking. Who you got number 2 on your list?
Number 2. So we're talking about versatility, and you're talking about the most versatile person in the draft being Cooper DeJean. I gotta say, hold on 1 second. I think my guy might be the most versatile guy in this draft. I've been harping on it and talking about it nonstop. I want to bolster this offensive line, and now that I said that, I think that you know where I'm going. None other than the Graham Barton, man. Graham Barton. If you need a right tackle, Graham Barton. If you need a right or left guard, Graham Barton. If you need a center, Graham Barton. The only position that I'm not going to put Graham Barton at is left tackle. right? So I think that he instantly gives us the depth that we need for our offensive line with his versatility. I think that ultimately, if something happens to Decker and Deckers gets banged up, you could maybe throw him out there at the right tackle position and bump Penei Sewell over. There's just so much versatility he offers. If Frank needs a blow, that toe's bothering him, you can bump him in there to center. He can play the guard positions. We know both our guards are 75 years old. So if they need to take a break for a week or two to heal up, hey, we got a guy that can step in and play immediately. Graham Barton is somebody, to me, he fits all the traits to be a Detroit Lion, blue collar guy, just gets in, gets the job done wherever you need him to play. How you feel about Graham Barton?
About him personally, love him. I love him. I think he is the most versatile offensive lineman, but here's my issue. When I draft Graham Barton, I cannot look him dead in the eyes and say, hey, Graham, I'll see you in 2025. Unless we have an injury, which I don't want anyone on our offensive line to be injured.
But I don't think you can do that with Cooper DeJean either.
You can get him in at certain situations. You can cycle out safeties, corners, whatever.
You can cycle out linemen. You can put him in that swing tackle. I think he's going to be an upgrade to Dan Skipper.
I don't know about that. So you're going to, I can't draft a guy to just play, hey, we'll maybe get you 3 snaps a game.
I think you can get more than 3 snaps out of them. I think it would be tremendous to be able to give some of these guys that are 75 years old a blow for a couple of series. You know what I mean? Maybe take a game off or a week off. Hey, go get that ice and stem this week, man. We're going to throw Graham in there and let him get some experience. I think
your offensive line is supposed to just be one cohesive unit.
I'll tell you, that's exactly what we weren't last year. We had Haloti Vaitai in and out of there. We had Graham Glasgow bouncing around, playing center, playing guard. We had guys hurt every single week. We had what's your boy Coyote Asika?
Awasika, yeah. And he played pretty damn well when he did play.
He played decent his second go round. His first go round, he struggled a little bit. The second go round, he played solid football, but I don't think that he's going to play the same football that Graham Barton is going to play when he comes into town. So that's the bottom line for me. I want that warm and fuzzy, and if I need one warm and fuzzy with this team, I need a warm and fuzzy with my offensive line, knowing that they're going to protect Jared Goff even if somebody's banged up.
If Jared Goff needs 5 Pro Bowlers to protect him, then I think we have to have a conversation about our quarterback.
Well, then I think we need to have a conversation because we do not have a quarterback that's going to get it done without a solid offensive line in front of him.
You can have a solid offensive line. We have one right now. We have the best offensive line in football. I just personally cannot draft a guy and say, hey, more than likely, unless someone gets hurt, I'll see you next season in my first round pick. That's how I view it. Yeah. I don't think the Detroit Lions are ever going to be shuffling in linemen to take a series off. I don't think any team in the NFL does that. Could you play him at swing tackle? Yeah. Do I need to use a first round pick on something that Dan Skipper and I won't even mention Colby Sold. So I'll just say Dan Skipper plays swing tackle efficiently enough to where I don't have to put a first rounder out there. That's all I'm saying.
I get it, man. I just look at it like this. I don't know that anybody that we draft in this draft from 29 on down is going to come into this league and start right away with the Detroit Lions. I don't know that if we draft Darius Robinson, he's going to be starting over Marcus Davenport, John Kaminsky, or Josh Pascal. I don't know that that's going to be going down immediately. I know that if I draft Cooper DeJean, he's not starting, right? So, I mean, I don't know that anybody in this draft that we draft is going to come out and be starting right away. Could I see it down the road? Absolutely. We got a Zeitler. He's old. Graham Glasgow here for another couple seasons. Frank Ragnow, he's a guy who we don't know what's going to happen with his toe. It's rumored that he's going to retire after every season. I think it'll give us the opportunity to give us a warm and fuzzy, man, and not be worried about when these guys go down. Take care of business, man.
Nobody at pick 29 is going to be a starter.
I'm not saying that they won't potentially be a starter in the future. I just don't know that they're going to be a starter day one. I don't know that anybody at pick 29, day one, week one, is going to be starting for the Lions if we're healthy.
Interesting.
You got somebody that's going to tell me otherwise?
Well, maybe not, since you had to, go back and rephrase your comment and say since starting day one.
That's what I mean. That's what we're talking about, day one starters.
At number 2, I'm looking at a guy by the name of Kool-Aid McKinstry, who I think is a huge upgrade over Amik Robertson. I'll just go ahead and say it.
See, and I completely disagree with that, man, because I went and watched Amik and Carlton Davis's film, man. I just actually today wanted to say I watched a few games, but I watched Carlton Davis today play against Justin Jefferson and how he played, man. I watched how Amik plays, man. He plays like a dog, man. He kind of reminds me of Mikey Singer still in college, man. It's his bulldog mentality over there at that number 2 corner spot. I have no worry about Amik being out there, man. He's a guy that's going to get out there compete, and there's no way that I'm going to say Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to be a day one starter over him.
I'd say day one starter, but I also don't need to give him a step stool to be 5'10".
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of corners, man, that's played this game at a high level at 5'9", 5'10", man. So I'm not worried about that size at all, man. I'm more worried about, can you move your feet, man, and break when these guys are breaking, man? Can you mirror the other guy's feet? Can you anticipate what's going to be happening? Can you be at the right spaces at the right times? And do you have that dog mentality, man? I think that his energy is going to be electric for the Detroit Lions. I think it's going to be more electric than a guy like CJ Gardner-Johnson, because he's going to be electric in the right ways. He's not going to be electric on Twitter. He's going to be electric on the field, and that's what we need, man. I'm not saying that Kool-Aid McKinstry wouldn't eventually overtake him at all, man. It definitely could happen, but he's just not a guy that I'm necessarily worried about out there playing that number 2 corner position or the nickel.
Who's your number 1?
My number 1 guy on my list?
I think we probably have the same player.
I don't know.
Gut feeling.
So it's a tricky thing here at number 1. It's a tricky thing. So I have an honorable mention, right? And here's why.
No, we're doing honorable mentions too.
Here's why. Here's why. Let me explain though. Here's why. I truly believe that there's a potential out there due to the neck injury that Latu slides, because at the end of the day, you're really gambling with your job when you draft these first round draft picks. If you draft a guy and he doesn't play, or he goes out with an injury and you knew that it was a concern, then you're probably going to be looking for another position, another GM position, unless you've had just tremendous success. So I think that you could see for that reasons Latu slide. If he slides to 29, he would be my number 1. But I'm living in a world where he's not sliding to 29. So if he's not sliding to 29, the number 1 on my list is Xavier Legette. If I'm looking at everyone going the way that I think that the board's going to go, right? And I think that Graham Barton's going to be gone. I think that Darius Robinson is going to be gone. I would rather go get Xavier Legette than a Kool-Aid McKinstry, right? I would rather go get Xavier Legette than Braylon Trice or a Johnny Newton even, man, because I feel like we got DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil. Why am I going to go get another DT, man, when I can go get somebody that's going to be extremely impactful to our offense and put our offense to a level that's crazy? I think that I talked about bunch formations with Malachi Corley and Roman Wilson and what that will look like. But we're a team that wants to run the football ultimately. And a bunch formation or a 2x2 formation with Xavier Legette and Donovan Peoples-Jones, you got tight ends out there, dang near. You got guys that are going to block their butts off in the run game. And you got guys that could be potential threats offensively. And then not to take anything away from guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown. We split out Sam Laporta, who can also block. But you add Xavier Legette to this group, a guy that's 230 pounds, who can block like a tight end, who can run a 4.3 40, right? Who can high point the football. I think that if I'm choosing in between the two, a cornerback who I don't even know is going to hit the field, or a wide receiver who is going to get playing time right away. I'm not going to say that he's going to be a day 1 starter, but he is going to get playing time right away. Xavier Legette's got to be number 1 on this list, predicated on, like I said, Latu not sliding and the board falling the way I think the board's going to fall. How do you feel about Xavier at 29?
William?
Yes.
It's very rare that we're not on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're not in the same book. I'm not even sure we're in the same library. I don't know. No, I don't have a problem with Xavier Legette as a player. I don't mind him at all. Since the season ended on that cold January day, when we blew a lead 24-7, where a lot of things went wrong. We're not going to play the blame game though, but we lost that game because of a lot of mistakes from a lot of different people. But from week 1 of last season to the final play of the game, our defense was a question mark.
Yeah.
A huge question mark all year, not just like a couple, bad game defense. It happens. No, it was a problem from week 1 to the end of the season. So I've said this whole off season, I need a defense first round. I can't go out and bash Aaron Glenn, a guy that you said is going to probably be in the conversation for assistant coach of the year next year. And if you're not giving him the tools, I don't think you're setting him up for success to achieve those goals. Yeah. So if you've noticed what I've done with my number 3, my number 2, and now my number 1, well, I'll get to in a second, but nothing against Xavier Legette. Yeah. But our offense was top 5. Yeah. Top 5 offense. So is he a need? He's a sexy piece. He's a nice looking Porsche, a nice looking car to have. But sometimes you just need that old pickup truck to get it done. Sometimes you just need that defender to go out and muddy up the game and be a little bit reliable. You got a top 5 offense. Our defense was in the 20s. Yeah. If we're not fixing the defense, and I know we did a little bit in free agency, traded for Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson, DJ Reader. That's great. Yeah. I don't think those guys really moved the needle enough for me.
Are you out of your mind?
Enough. They've moved the needle, yes, but not enough. Because I said
DJ Reader didn't move this needle.
I said DJ Reader. I said they moved the needle. They didn't move it enough. Now hang on.
Talk to me.
Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson, solid secondary players. Doesn't matter. You can have Jesus out there guarding receivers. If you can't get a pass rush and put these quarterbacks in trouble or under pressure, you've even said it. It doesn't matter who your secondary is. If a quarterback's sitting in a pocket, Baltimore Ravens game, and has all day to throw, you can't guard guys in the NFL with these rules these days for more than 8 seconds. Like we
Steve,
were.
Please tell me this pick because I'm on the edge of my seat.
Right, I'm still talking Xavier Legette. So as much as I love him as a player, I've got to fix the defense first.
Yeah, I want to know who's going to fix
DJ Reader. Like my needle was here, and DJ Reader moved it.
That's crazy to me.
But I need it like over here.
I think that's where DJ's got it. So I need to know who this guy is that's going to bring it to
at
the next
number
level.
1 for me, Edgerrin Cooper. Swiss Army knife of a linebacker, can rush the passer, can cover tight ends, can cover slot receivers, can cover running backs, can blitz the passer from the middle, the outside, the inside, from your mama's house. It doesn't matter. He provides speed on defense. Yeah. He can plug the gap. He's not my number 1. Latu Latu is my number 1. I'm 100% with you on that one, but you know, we're going to probably have to trade up for that and the neck injury, but we're not going to go down to that road. He's my number 1. Edgerrin Cooper, realistic pick at 29. He improves the defense, and that's what we got to do. This is the city of Detroit, the Motor City. We're all about grit. You can't be preaching grit every year and have a defense that ranks 22nd in the league or worse. If we could just get this defense somewhere in that top 15 with a top 5 offense, we're playing good complementary football.
Yeah. Hey, you know I love Edgerrin Cooper, man, but when we talk about pushing that needle, I don't know that he does that by himself. I think that Edgerrin Cooper is a phenomenal player, tremendous talent, freak athlete, plays downhill, plays fast, does all of the things. I just don't know that we're talking about getting a pass rush, and I don't know that he's going to offer pass rush. He's going to offer a linebacker that can blitz, but I don't know how necessarily he's going to get to the quarterback and, you know, a lot better than a Derek Barnes or a Anceloni. Now, do I think that he's an upgrade from Derek Barnes? I do. But I think that I do like Edgerrin Cooper. I do love Edgerrin Cooper. And I do want Edgerrin Cooper on my team. It's just a matter of, is he my number 1? And do I think that him himself can push that needle from that linebacker position? I just don't know. I think that he's ultimately a guy that can spy these quarterbacks. Now that's a selling point for me. I think ultimately that he's a guy that can be disruptive and play behind the line of scrimmage. That's a selling point for me. But from a pass rush standpoint, I think that ultimately DJ Reader was a huge piece because DJ Reader is going to demand double teams. You're going to need 2 humans to deal with DJ Reader. Can whoever you put on that edge win a one-on-one? Can Marcus Davenport do it? Can Pascal take a step forward this year? Can Kaminsky do something besides be an anchor and get a little bit of pass rush to his game? Also opens up some things for Aleem McNeil and Hutch. So I think that ultimately, man, DJ Reader was a piece, man, to this thing. I like Amik. I like Carlton Davis. When I watched Carlton Davis compete against Justin Jefferson, I actually fell in love with him. Like I've seen people clowning that pick, clowning that trade. You're nuts. You're nuts if you're clowning that trade. Carlton Davis is not going to be a lockdown corner, but I'm going to tell you this. He's going to be lockdown-ish. He's going to be lockdown-ish. Like, you know what I mean? He's going to get out there and he's going to compete. He's going to give these guys problems. I took away what Jamar Jefferson and Justin Jefferson said, or Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson said about him, but I got to lay my eyes on it. When I watched that film today, Steve, woo-wee. So that leaves me to be a little bit more comfortable with the cornerback position. Not saying that I don't want a corner, but leads me to be a little bit more comfortable. So while I love your list, I like mine a little bit better.
Well, your list is, flashy. Mine's fixing team needs.
Hey, Graham Barton is Darius Robinson.
He's gonna look. Yeah, Graham Barton's gonna look real good 3 years from now when he's starting. It's gonna be phenomenal.
Hey, we got to be ready, man. Hey, listen. Here's one thing that I want to say. This is the guys that we love, but I want to say this, Steve. I'm ready for this draft, and I want this draft, and I'm gonna give a little bit. I've been sprinkling a little stuff, leaving breadcrumbs for you guys because the mock draft's coming, and I want you guys to be in the same, just feeling the vibes. I want this draft to set the tone for the Detroit Lions for the next decade. This draft right here.
I think I don't want to sell the farm. Obviously, Laitu Latu is our guy. Regardless of what's on our top 3, we're locked in. He's number 1. Is he realistic at 29? We're gonna need a little help from our Lord and Savior. I'll just say that we're gonna need a tad bit of help,
like some Brian Branch type help.
Yeah, exactly. Very good comparison. We're gonna need a little Brian Branch help from last year. Like, I hope there's a little draft magic in the air and he falls to 29 because I can't get to the podium fast enough if I'm Brad Holmes to get that pick turned in.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be there. I think he'll be in the top 20. I think he's worthy of a GM who might not be on the hot seat to take that pick if you need a pass rusher without going through the whole draft board and seeing who's there. Even my dog downstairs likes it. I don't know if you guys can hear her barking. She loves the pick. Him, Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, a revamped secondary, a young linebacking core with Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone still captain in the defense. I think that does improve our defense. I think that moves the needle quite a bit. Is it realistic? I don't know, man. I really want it to be.
Yeah.
The fan in me really wants it to be. I don't know.
I think there's contingencies for both of them, man. If he's not there, we got another guy. I'm very excited about it. I'm not worried. I just think that you're really gonna like my mock draft. Guys don't know. I don't know Steve's. He doesn't know mine. When we do them together, that's when we're gonna find out. So, but yeah, I think Steve, you're gonna really like.
I already hate it because you're so confident in it.
I'm very confident, and I've been at it for now probably 3 weeks. I did tweak one thing, but 3 weeks I've been dialed in. I haven't changed.
How many mock drafts have you done?
Oh, it's not doing mock drafts. It's just the thought process of what I want to do.
Because here's what I do. When I hit that enter in that simulator, that's it. I do one. It's done. Whatever my board is, that's what it falls. I don't go back and X out and say, I want to restart. I don't like it.
No.
Come on, Will. You bullshitter. I know that's what you're doing.
No. It's my draft. It's my draft board. It's my draft board that I feel real good about. It's if this guy's gone, I'm going with this guy. If this guy's gone, I'm going with this guy. If this guy's still there, I'm going to take him, and then I'm going to go back and change and do this guy instead of this guy. I mean, I feel very confident in the way that I have my tiers set up, kind of where I feel like people are going to fall. Now, maybe I should practice it a little bit to see what the computer looks like. But when I'm looking at the mock drafts of, all of these different guys from the NFL to Mel Kiper to, like Daniel Jeremiah, the list goes on. When I'm looking at their mock drafts every day, CBS, and I'm kind of getting for a feel for where guys are falling. And then I'm digging into what's going on in these different camps, what the rumors are, Adam Schefter, all the stuff. I think that I got a good plan.
I don't know.
Brad, call me.
I don't know that you do have. I don't know you've ever had a good play in your whole life. I don't know.
You're probably right. I'm gonna let it fly, and it's gonna sound real cool. And then Brad's gonna like I've said a million times, Brad's gonna do something totally different. He's gonna show us all why he's the GOAT, man.
The streets are talking that you're drafting Joe Milton in the first round. That's what the people are saying.
They might not be wrong. Who knows?
We'll have that mock draft out Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. If you're a mock draft fan, the day before the draft, set your alarm for 6:59. If you like what we did here today, just a little draft preview, talking some top 3 for each of us. Honorable mention, Laitu Latu. Number 1, realistically, if he slips, but we don't know. Number 1 for me personally, probably Jared Verse, but we're not going to, keep dragging this episode out. Guys, leave some comments down below. Leave your top 3. Hit that like button. If you're new here, stick around. Let us be your go-to source for Detroit Lions football, whether it's current news, hypothetical news, game day films that we do every week, game day recaps. We do it all. Let us be your go-to source. Subscribe. We'll be back later with some more content.
Peace.